Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another live stream. This is number, 29 of the video production hotline. So the way this works is we're going to dive in just a moment into your questions. So if you have any, go ahead and queue those up. Let me know if you can hear me, if everything looks okay. It's been a minute and setup has changed a little bit. You know, I can't help myself. Got to keep tweaking things slightly. So we want to make sure everything's up and running, that you can hear me. And good to see everyone. We have several people already in the chat. We have Doughboy God. Good to see you again, Doughboy. Brandon, the one and only. Faithful Brandon. What's up, dude? Duffy James. Dive into with James. Good to see you, James. Spurin? Yeah. Gitfo. Cut with 2 T's. Alexander and others. So welcome, everybody. A couple things before we dive into today's show. Let me go ahead and switch over. We're still selling gear, still trying to move some stuff over on Gear Focus. So the link is in the description if you want to pick up some anamorphic or cinema lenses. We've got a GH6 here, a couple 120Ds from Aperture, some lenses, bunch of lights, including this ridiculous 30-inch ring light, lots of mats, more lights, rigging stuff, audio equipment, an old cinema camera if you want to score an F3, and more. So you can check that out in the description. Also, lots and guides if you want to support the channel and keep sponsors off the channel. So we have our courses here, A7 IV, A7S3, GH6 are the newest ones. And then for LUTs, we've got S-Log 3. Oh, hey. Things are happening here. Something's wigging out. Everybody okay? Oh. I hit fade to black, I think, accidentally. So anyways, as I was saying, it doesn't like that either. Something's happening. Yeesh. Well, apparently I can't show that screen without issues. But we have LUTs. All that stuff's in the description. You guys know what's up. So let's go ahead and dive into questions. And if you have any. So I'm going to jump over to the chat here. Jose, what's going on? Just making sure everything's smooth. We had some weird screen action there. Is everyone all right? Everyone cool? Yes, we can hear me. Good, good, good. Sendrim says, yo, rebuilding my setup with organizing all my gear, Excel lists, and serial numbers. Woo, that's pretty legit, man. I heard of a service, I think it was at NAB, where you can actually, they have like apps for this stuff, and you can like do QR codes on your gear and all kinds of wild stuff. Let's see, what have I missed? Hey, what's up, Camera Junkie? Give me some of those sweet GH6 LUTs. Yeah, I'm using one of my LUTs right now, and been testing it with the the FX30, and those are also working fantastic. So if you have an FX30, the S-Log 3 LUTs work really, really great. Recently been shooting at C-Log 3 with my R6. I'm getting confused about the BT709, 2020, etc. Let's go ahead and throw this up here, shall we? Then when I use the LUT from Canon, there are so many C-Log 3 LUTs. Yes. So, okay. So, Paul, I'll give you kind of the deal here, the breakdown. Yes, if you go to Canon's website and you download their LUTs, there are a billion LUTs. Now, every camera manufacturer is a little different, but in general, the way log profiles and LUTs work is that you will often see the gamma and gamut. And it sounds confusing, but gamma is going to be your luminance. So where is white, where is black? So you might know that some profiles have white at 93 instead of 100. So if you go past 93, that's now super whites and it's gone forever. Others have 105, so it depends on the camera. So that's your gamma. Luminance, just bright, white, black, where is everything landing? Gamut is going to be your color. And there are different color spaces that are large, small, and things like that. So whenever you see 709 or 2020, in general, 709 is going to be Rec 709, which is kind of what you're looking at right now with my face. Everything's well saturated and, it's not flat. The problem is that's a very small color space. So if you're recording in 709, when you try to push things, bad stuff happens. So we want a giant color space. 2020 is a very large color space. So in your example of using an R6, I would recommend C-Log3, and when you go into your settings, don't do 709. You want 2020, or even better would be, I believe on the R6 there is Cinema Gamut. I would go with that probably and play with them, but 2020 is going to be big. It's going to be very flat, and then you just match the LUT. So a LUT, you just figure out what you're coming from and where you're going. So if you're shooting in C-Log3 with BT 2020, then what you would do is you'd find the C-Log3 2020 to 709, and that would be the final LUT you apply. Hopefully that makes sense, but you want to shoot as wide as possible. Shoot the most flat, the most large color space possible. Then when you edit and you apply your LUT, then you take that down to 709. So the LUTs I sell take either C-Log3, S-Log3, or V-Log from Panasonic, and takes the largest possible thing. So S-Log3, S-Gamut 3.Cine, or C-Log3 Cinema Gamut from Canon Cinema Gamut, whatever it is, and converts that to Rec 709, and then gives you a really nice image that you can tweak some more if you want, but that's kind of the deal. Whew, hopefully I didn't bore too many people, but yeah, great question, Paul, and thank you for asking it. All right, Daniel Moore, got the S-Log3 LUTs the other day. So good. Night and day difference from the previous LUTs I've used. Now need to re-edit all of my previous work. Nice. Well, thank you, Daniel. It's very good to hear. Hell yeah, using label printer for everything. Woo! Wow. So you're really getting after it there. Marking all your gear down. That's really a good idea. I do recommend, we're not as good about keeping it updated, but we have a gear database. So if a meteor hits the studio, we have, a spreadsheet in the cloud with all of our stuff, so we can figure out if we needed to like rebuild from scratch, which would be awful, but gotta work with that. What else we got? I run a VR lab and have a camera mount in the corner ceiling. Sony A7 camera, but having trouble capturing the room. What's a good lens? So you're talking about width, and I would imagine it's somewhat dark in there. Well, I don't know, but for the A7 camera, if you're okay with not having good autofocus, look into Laowa or Venus Optics. They make really, really wide lenses that are pretty fast. So the 12 millimeter f2.8 is great. If you need autofocus, you can actually get the Sony 10 to 18, set it to 12 millimeters, and that'll give you a wide autofocus lens on full frame. All right, Gustavo, how do you find clients online without a big portfolio, and how to price your videos? So check back on the channel, search my channel for how much to charge or something like that. I did a live stream with my good friend Corbin Tyson, and we talked about this at length. So I would recommend checking that out. And then if you want to go further from there, we have a whole guide called the Corporate Video Guide where we get into things like that. Hey, an idea any idea when an overhead shoot video will drop? Super excited for that one. Yes, so I feel like every time I mention my next video is going to be this, something comes up and it doesn't work out. But I've got a couple of the videos in the works. First, I thought about maybe doing an entire series or guide on that whole thing, but you're right, I kind of need to do that, don't I? So let's get after that. Thanks for the reminder. Jesus says, what's your opinion on 7 Artisan manual focus lenses for the G7 as a cheap alternative? Absolutely. They make so many crazy affordable lenses. So, I don't think you're going to get ripped off for the price. They're not going to be, Zeiss or Canon L level, but they're definitely going to take care of you for the money. This microphone is so far away. I keep leaning back to help my back here. Pocket 4K is the best camera on earth, and nobody can change my mind. Okay, Curtis. I won't try to. Thank you, James. Good to see you. Thank you from Maine. Have you had any chance to play with the FX30 yet? Thoughts? Yes. The FX30 is 100 chef kisses. It's so, so good. And I'm actually doing a video upcoming soon. I just finally got the last set of lenses in. I'm going to do a huge FX30 lens guide, if you will, and put it on YouTube. So it's going to be, I don't know how many lenses there are at this point, but 20 lenses. So I just went on B&H and found a ton of different glass that I think would be interesting to check out. So we're just beginning testing with all that stuff. Cinema lenses, zoom lenses, autofocus lenses, just the whole gamut. But I love that camera. Really, really digging it. so far. Finally caught you on stream. What's up, Keith? Good to see you, man. Daniel, will you ever do an S-Log 2 LUT? We mix 10-bit and 8-bit Sonys at the moment. Would love. Yes, Daniel, that is coming. I know I've been saying that forever, but I have an A7S II and an A6400, and we're final testing. Those of you who are on the Discord channel have helped me out, and that's been great to see some test footage. So that is coming, and I'm really stoked because it does wonders for those cameras. Kind of breathes new life into them, if you will. FX30 is no different than any other latest Sony camera. Same old. I don't know, Curtis. I don't think it is, because the FX30 has that oversampling, which the A7S does not, or the FX3 does not. So we're getting a smaller sensor, which I love because the lens options just explode. But we're getting the new color, smaller sensor, oversampling, high frame rates. So I do think there's something special about the camera. And the price is insane. Every time I look at the price, I just can't believe it. So that's the camera to beat right now, in my opinion. All right, inspired from you, I'm building 19-inch racks on my desk, custom ports, and a whole new interface for my A10 Mini DAC amp. Thanks so much for the inspiration. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad I could inspire. Send me a photo. I'd love to see this setup, this monstrous beast that you're building. Ooh, Black Friday camera gear shopping tips. Only shop for what you need. And most of the time, I just kind of don't get on the internet, especially if I don't need anything. Now, if I'm shopping for something, for instance, I'm just now beginning the early stages of planning for a home theater in my basement, and I'm trying to do it on a budget. So I'm going to be, sweaty fingers trying to find in-wall speakers and stuff like that. But in general, if you don't need anything, just avoid it. Otherwise, it's such a mess these days. It's so hard to find. Like, Amazon's kind of a poop shoot. I would say B&H does a pretty good job laying that stuff out. Just know what you need and go from there. What do you do for your day job, or is YouTube it? YouTube is it, at least right now. And things have not been super fantastic, if I'm being honest with you guys, when it comes to, the business side of things, because I don't know if I mentioned at the top of the show, we don't do sponsors. So it's a stupid thing. I wouldn't recommend doing that. If you're starting a channel today or have one, I would say it's a bad business idea to not do sponsorships. But I just, the thought of starting that and having to, be on someone else's schedule and stuff, I'm just going to milk it as long as I can without that. But this is what I do, yes, day in, day out. So I used to do production and then this took over full time. If you ever watch, okay, hang on a second. If you have watched some of the A7R reviews, have you noticed old Sony Magenta cast in photo video? I'm looking for high resolution camera, but not excited if they use the same sensor. I haven't really paid attention to that stuff. The A7R, I'm not really tuned into. The newest one, of course, looks interesting. But I'm more into that 4K with an oversampled sensor. So the A7 IV, not the A7R IV. But I haven't really looked at that, so I can't really speak to that, unfortunately. How do you cut your thumb? That's a good question. If you're really queasy, mute for a second. But I'm building shelves in our basement and like giant storage things, and had an impact driver, DeWalt, with the giant battery on the bottom. So really, really heavy. And I had an old screw I was trying to reuse. It wasn't working. It was starting to strip. So I started to back it out, and I had my hand down here, and on full push, full send, so I wouldn't strip it anymore, it skipped, bounced off a wall, and then went into my thumb. Phillips bit with all the yummy things on the end of a nasty old Phillips bit went into the base of my thumb, broke through the nail, and now there's a Phillips star crack in the bottom of my thumb, and it hurts like a mother. But so far, that was last night. So far, I think we're good. No signs of infection. So hopefully it'll just heal, and I won't have too much of a funky looking nail afterward. So be careful. Even if you have a hand nowhere near where you're drilling, just be mindful, because stuff happens, man. So that's the deal with the thumb. Where were we? That's the thumb question. Ben's Watch Club. What's up, Ben? Good to see you again, sir. Question: preferred sensor size for macro videography tripods indoors, considering full frame for wider dynamic range wristwatches, but unsure if the depth of field will be too shallow. That's a really good question, Ben. I mean, if you're mainly right up on that timepiece, I would say a smaller sensor. I honestly think that FX30 would probably be a good idea, especially if you're going to shoot at higher frame rates. Maybe you want to get a nice, slow motion shot. You shoot at 120, that's going to crop in additionally. So I would say Super 35 or tighter, probably. My guess is you're going to be at a manual focus anyway, so you don't really need to worry too much about autofocus. So yeah, I would say that's probably what you want to look at. And if you haven't already been, I don't know if you're using anything for motion control, but that's a great candidate for a motion control system like the Arc 2 from Rhino. And in that video, if you watch my older review, you'll see where you can animate or you can program the focus as well. Use a manual lens with gear, and you can actually have a slider moving over or toward the watch, and as it's moving closer, it's also focusing the lens. So just side note, not that you're asking about that. So I'm going to say Super 35 or, I wouldn't worry too much about dynamic range, especially with the newer cameras. They're all pretty solid. Do you think Instagram and Facebook to be a successful videographer, do you need them is what I think you're saying? And I mean, being on social media helps for sure. I think it's more word of mouth in your industry. But if all your clients are online, then yeah, that's a good way to go. I should be doing more. I just don't want to. So, but that's YouTube versus production. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think Instagram seems to be kind of a good place to be. Some preview showing that list, still working out what info to keep on the list. So Viltrox we're talking about the lenses for E-mount, crop E-mount, Viltrox cinema lenses, Viltrox autofocus lenses, Sigma contemporary lenses. TT Artisan makes some 0.95 cinema primes. Those are nuts. And then a couple of zooms from Sigma, Tamron. What else? Oh, shoot. There's like 2 other brands I'm not remembering right now. They're like really budget. So the whole idea is budget lenses. I think the most expensive one on the list is $750. So most of them are well below that. Sorry for the camera body question. Not at all, man. Did I miss one, Daniel? Cinetone. Hey, Caleb, what's the DJI Transmission DC 4-plug wall adapter? I can't find one anywhere. I'm using the expansion plate. What is... I don't know. Is it not... Oh, the wall adapter. I don't remember if mine came with one. I'm kind of brain freezing on that, Cinetone. I'm sorry. Your take on buying gear sooner than later because of shortages and inflation, etc. Realistic and relevant app. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, maybe if you were buying a $100,000 camera where it would really make a difference, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think you just got to do what you got to do. If you need a camera, go for it. I'm personally not a fan of going into debt for gear. I definitely think that's a horrible idea, to set yourself up for a lot of debt with the way things are right now. It just doesn't seem like a wise move. So I would recommend getting something that's going to work good, that you can buy today and be done if you need it, and just a good solid kit that'll work for you for a period of time. And my thing is always, I like to recommend cameras that will do 80% of what you need. So you don't, first of all, cameras don't exist that can do everything, but for what you do, get the camera that does most of it. And I think that's a good move. So yeah, buying gear sooner rather than later. I mean, the shortages, it's so hard to tell, right? You can't predict everything. So, but I feel like most stuff is coming back around. Some things like mixed pre-3s are still impossible to find. But that's kind of the deal. Sigma 18-35 1.8 for the RP. I mean, you could, but it's a crop lens on a full frame sensor. So I probably wouldn't recommend that. Hey, Caleb, many thanks for your helpful videos. Can you please create a video on a complete setup for Microsoft Teams presentations and meetings along with lighting for sensitive eyes? Some of the videos I've already done, I would say are a good idea. The one I'm thinking of that's the least intense on your eyeballs is probably the entire desk setup under $2,000. That setup's really nice. It's not too intense. There's not a light right over the camera. So check that one out. In the market for a wireless follow focus system, Nucleus Nano Small Rig, Magic Fizz, or Nucleus Nano 2. I haven't tried the small rig stuff, so I can't speak to that. The Nucleus Nano is pretty solid, and I like how it interfaces with the Nucleus M, which is super great. So yeah, I think you're probably solid with any of that stuff. The Magic Fizz, I haven't tried, so can't really tell you what that's like. Nate's Film Tutorials. What's up, Nate? Everyone check out his channel. Good stuff. Dive into with James. What's your thoughts on the early channel, YouTube channels, views versus efforts? Getting momentum seems tough. What's your thoughts on early channel, YouTube channel, views versus efforts? I would say, James, your early channel, it's tricky, right? Because you're trying to get views. You're trying to get subscribers. So I don't want to say you're try-harding, but you're try-harding, right? Then you build an audience who's into that. Like they're subscribing for that stuff. And then you're eventually like, okay, I need to, stop try-harding. And then people are like, what the heck? That's why we're here. So I would say, James, try to, you don't want to be silly. You want to try to get views, but do what you love and what helps people. And if you do that, you're going to be in this for the long haul, and you're not going to have to pivot years down the road, and everyone's going to not like it, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot at that point. It's a terrible idea, in my opinion, to just completely pivot, right? So if you've been building a channel, like if I decided tomorrow I'm changing to a dog channel, that's going to rip RIP this channel instantly. That said, there are some people that it's just about personality, and that's the only reason people are there, and that's another take, but that's kind of what I would do. Hopefully that answers your question. Cut. Rumors have dropped that there's a Lumix S5 II being announced. Are you excited to see the Mark II of Lumix full-frame cameras, and what do you expect? I don't know, man. I've stopped tuning into the rumor mill, if you will, but that would be cool. And if it is a thing, it would be great if we can get some good autofocus. I don't even know why I'm pushing these back in when I'm not using them, so I'll take them out. But yeah, that'd be super fantastic. S5 is great. Would you ever consider reviewing something like the Studio Cam 4K Pro from Blackmagic? It's obviously more broadcast. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm even being very selective about what cameras I do review. Where to buy secondhand cameras is cheap and as quality as possible. I'm going to say eBay. That's where I buy stuff, because I only buy from people that have good ratings, and there's a return policy, so I can send the camera back. That's probably your best option. I mean, local, of course, if you can find someone who already has it. Yeah, and MBP, I think is what it is. I was just talking to my buddy about this today. mbp.com. Used gear. Yeah, mpb.com. These fellers. They have pretty good. Here we go with this. Let's see if I go like this. Multi-view, maybe that'll work. These guys have really good deals on gear. They have photo stuff. They have cinema stuff. So definitely would check them out if you're looking to save. They're probably a very reputable, but they're fair. Adorama also is good. They're on eBay as well. So that's that. I just heard something funny. I don't know if it's my audio or something else. All right. Hopefully I didn't miss any. Oh, I did miss some. I'd watch a video about you building a home theater. Yeah, I probably won't, but that would be. Don't get me wrong. I was tempted to get some free Valencia seats by talking about them, but then I was like, no, that's super shilly. All right, best bang for buck RGB tube. I'm going to say let's see, what is it? The 30C from Pavo or Nanlite, and the Amarans are kind of the two I'm really digging right now. Plan on getting A7 IV, but then the R6 II dropped. Should I reevaluate or just go with the A7? That's up to you, Brad. If you're just feeling the R6 II, go for it. I'm pretty much, unless something changes drastically, sticking with Sony. I've been using Sony for a long time now, but now I'm really using Sony because of the lens options. There's multiple sensor sizes. There's tons of lens options from third-party manufacturers, which you're not going to find with Canon because they're putting the hurts on anyone who uses the RF mount. Thank you, Omar, for the kind words. He says, been subscriber for a few months. Your channel has been super helpful. Question, what's the budget-friendly key light to buy? I was thinking of the Godox SL60. So there's a bunch of lights like that right now. SL60. I mean, I think they even have a new version of the SL60. I just really love the 100D from Amaran. It's just right. The quality is there. It's strong enough to hold a softbox. It's bright. It's hard not to like that light. For what, $200, I think? Gold. Now, if you're going for super cheap, then or even less, the SL60 is still a solid light. It's just going to be louder, not as good a color, and the build quality is yikes. But it would work with a 30-something inch softbox. You're still good. Dylan, maybe a stupid question. No such thing, sir. But why do some cameras 4K look worse than others? That's a great question, actually. And there's a lot of reasons. Color bit depth. Some are just softer sensors, or the way it all works out in the end, the processing. Every camera has a processor. If the processor is junk, doesn't matter what the sensor is doing. So Canon, not always, but a lot of their cameras are pretty soft, even in 4K. When you look at Sony, they're crazy sharp. And part of that could be processing. There's all kinds of things. So yeah, not all 4 cameras are created equal, put another way. Maybe you can do affiliate marketing, just a thought. I do affiliate marketing, like Amazon and B&H and stuff like that. That helps. I feel like the business side of YouTube has been tough overall lately, but fortunately, making videos is a fun thing to do in and of itself. Yes, Tom, I would agree. This is why I'm still doing this, like hanging out with you guys and helping as many people as possible. There's just something in me that, if I have gone through the pain and suffering of figuring something else out or figuring something out, and someone's out there in the middle of that, I would love to just be like, here, I found something that's hopefully helpful. Ever explore low-end streaming gear? I have not. That stuff interests me, but I think Tom's more your man. You gotta narrow your focus somewhere. So for me, it's kind of YouTube gear, cinema-y stuff / DIY setups. It's kind of a weird thing, but I gotta narrow it. So I don't do drones, don't do gimbals, and haven't done a lot of like streaming stuff. I like that you look for the camera's picture quality in terms of, I like that you look for a camera's picture quality in terms of usability for cinema and grading. Quick thoughts on the X2S for cinema. Are you talking about the XH2S? I mean, it sounds like it's amazing. I haven't tried it, but a lot of people are loving it. What's up, Samantha? Good to see you. And thank you about the thumb. The thumb. Wow, am I that far behind? Yikes. Ooh. Oh, did I miss some super chats too? All right, I hate to do it, boys and girls. Oh, I did. We're going to jump down to super chats, and then I'm going to start fresh at the bottom here. Nate's Film Channel, $2 donation for bandages. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And then we got another one for Dive Into James. $4.49 pound. No questions, just thanks for everything. Keep going. Getting great comments on my video quality, all down to you. Well, thanks, James. And I need to check in to see how things are going over there. But last I looked, you were looking fantastic. So everyone should check out James's channel. And thanks for the donation, man, and for the support. You've been super, here, and I appreciate that. Okay, scrolling way down. Did I miss anything else? All right, I'm just going to kind of jump back in. right here. Lighter Pro Arcade. Hey Caleb, any camera rig base feet alternatives? DIY. I couldn't find something similar to what you've had on your rig video. Yeah, so I was actually thinking about this just today. It's a real bummer that Kessler seems to be the only one making that base, but I started using it on another setup, and man, it's just so good. So Small Rig or somebody hopefully will do that. Maybe I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, without ripping this off, can you guys come up with something? Because it's really smart. Or just pony up, because that thing is fantastic from Kessler. Can you talk about your live setup, some gear you need? Can you talk about live setup or some gear you need to get started? So I've done a couple of videos on setups like I'm using right now. You can check one of them out in the description, which is most like what I'm using currently. FS5, FS7 in 2022. If you don't need good autofocus, yes, they're great, especially the FS7 is still pretty decent in the color department. SF5, I've been meaning to get my hands back on one and see what that's like here. But yeah, FS5, that's what, $2,000 these days? Maybe less? Sabrent SSD stick, I don't know, haven't tried one. Life's all about shilling, none of us gonna buy Valencia seats, lol, get it, dude. Oh, thanks, Peter. All right, now I have false color LUT. Now I have a false color LUT. I need a monitor that I can use it on. Any recommendations for a good 5 to 7 inch option? Yeah, so Daniel, if you haven't already, I've done one video doing a huge monitor shootout under, I don't know, $300. And then I did another video on a $125 monitor, the OCT5. Those are what I would check out. I think the OCT5 even has LUTs, so it's 120 bucks. It's awesome. Cool. Christian is hooking up Alpha with some info. Boom. Lumix GD5 SD card slot isn't reading memory cards. Ooh. I mean, you could try different cards, try formatting them, try new battery, putting the battery in, turning it on, pulling the battery out, putting it back in while it's on. Those are all like the first things I try. I genuinely enjoy the A7 IV. If you can handle the crop in 60 and the slight rolling shutter is a way to go. Nice. Thanks, Peter. What's up, Aaron? Ian Brightman, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, brother. Question, do you know of any D-tap to USB-C cables that can power charge cameras like the FX30? I believe there are cables out there that will give you power delivery, and I think Power Junkie, Google Power Junkie Power Pipe or something. It's a lot of P's. But I believe they make cables that can do stuff like that. You and Gerald are my go-to for learning. Any recommendations for an NVMe SSD? That's a Gerald question. He's Mr. PC Builder guy. I'm still rocking a 970 in my gaming PC. Can you believe that? And I game regularly. I just haven't ponied up to a 3080 and then rebuilding a whole new system. But Gerald's done that like 3 times, so in the last year probably. Moving to the from the A6400 for video, just received an FX30. Nice. Are there good resources out there related to the best settings to use? Okay, so if you're getting into color there, Andrew, first of all, congratulations. Great upgrade. I'm going to say forget all that stuff. Slog3, sgamut3.cine. So Slog3 is your, what do they call it? Gamma. sgamut3.cine for your color mode. That's what Sony calls gamut. And then use a LUT. That setup, really, really good. And then, you know, if you want to check out my LUT, it's 20 bucks and links in the description. But yeah, I'm going to say skip all that other stuff. You know, you can definitely use things like Cine EI or Cinetone, Cine S-Tone or whatever. And those are going to be fine. But if you want the most flexibility, and again, when you use a LUT, it's not that difficult, right? Yes, I am that far behind. Oh, gosh, boys and girls, I got to speed this up. Just bought the Red Scarlet X because of your video. Wanted to ask, those small rig smart batteries work on them? Ooh, great question. I asked because I bought one recently. They should work. especially if you just have a V-mount plate. And congratulations on the red purchase. Have you tried Godoc's app? No, I have not, unfortunately. What's up, Ranger 7? And how are you liking the DBX mic preamp? I'm enjoying it. I've been using it for, I don't know, probably over a year now. And it's working right now. I think I have actually denoising turned on. So if you can hear my MacBook screaming, let me know. I don't have it super aggressive, though, so you totally could. All right. Your tetanus shot is current? Yes, it is, Charles. Yes. And I hope it is, and it is. All right. Any camera rig? Oh, we did that already. Love your channel and your GH5S tutorial. Super helpful for doing YouTube videos. Is it necessary to use log? No, it's not, but I still like to do it, right? Once you figure out, when you're doing a setup like this, still shoot log, figure out your LUTs and color, and then the beautiful thing is copy and paste. So I've got like a whole bunch of stuff on each of my videos, just copy and paste it to the next one. And so it's not, like you're having to redo it every single time. Unless you're like a vlogger, which in case that could be tough. Whatever happened to the disc shelf you showed? I'm actually selling those. So if anyone wants a 24 bay NetApp DS4246, I've got 2 of them for sale. Without getting too much into it, it was awesome, super fast, but it's just a lot. It takes up a ton of space, and I've been shifting things around and trying to downsize, so it wasn't going to work for me. The noise, the power, but it's pretty sick. If you know what you're doing, you can build a server. You can have 24 drives in a RAID, and it's just like screaming fast. But it just wasn't for me in the end. So I didn't do content on it. All right, sip of coffee here. Coalition Gaming. I feel 1080p is still worth it. Given the file size, but camera companies downsampling 4K. No love for 1080. Do you think brands will still polish 1080? Nope, 1080's gone, man, unfortunately. One thing you could do, Coalition, is if you want good 1080, get a recorder, record at 1080, and downsample from 4K. Or shoot your video in 4K, transcode it, and create a 1080 file out of it, and then delete the 4K stuff. And you can automate that. There's ways to do that. I think Handbrake, you can create droplets or whatever. So I would do that. That'll give you the best possible 1080 without the giant file sizes. What's up, Joey? And another super chat. Brandon, what's going on? Brandon, good to see you, man. $10 donation. Hey there, big guy. The projector Gobo you've got in the background. Is there a budget version of that? Projector Gobo. Oh. I don't. It's on B&H, that Gobo. Shoot me a message afterward. Or if you check out my review, or I did a video talking about this space. Before I redid it. But that Gobo's linked to in that video. Otherwise, I will look that up for you. Just shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram or something. We'll figure it out. Oh, excuse me. A little burp there for you guys. Hey, Caleb, what's your quick basic setup for talking head video like the one you are doing now? Budget build if possible. Check out my last video, or not last video. One of my recent videos, I did a $3,000 setup. That includes everything from scratch. So if you already have a camera and lens, you'll save some money there. So check that out. I cover everything in there. Ooh, just need more live shows. Yep, Mark, I'm trying to do this every single week. Super chat everyday minimalist $5. He says, do you have any interest in everyday carry? Do you carry a knife for all those products you unbox? Interesting question. So my everyday carry is my phone, my keys, wallet. I do carry a Leatherman Wingman, which I have right here. I feel like this is, it's not super expensive. It's got a great action on the actual pliers, knife, everything I basically need. But when it comes to opening boxes, I just use a basic box cutter, and we have them littered all over. I essentially have, 5 different, mini shops across the whole studio. So that at any given station, like in the drawers right behind me here, box cutter. Over at my B-roll area, I have a rolling cart. That's what I should do one of these live streams, show off my B-roll cart. It's a whole cart of all little tools and little pieces of tape and things to hold products from rolling on the desk, and then other places. So yeah, just a basic box cutter. Buy a pack of 10 of them on Amazon and just litter them all over the place, unless you have little kids around. That's a bad idea. So yeah, box cutter. But that's it for my everyday carry, and usually a red pen, and that's pretty much it. Can you talk about what you should build for shooting freelance videos? So we've done a video or a live stream on that. Check it out. Look for how to charge or how much to charge. If you search my channel, you'll come across that stream with Corbin Tyson, and we talk about that in length. People are talking about apps that suck. Hello from Space Coast, Florida. Watching you during the little hurricane. Ooh, well, hang in there, Dan. And thank you for the kind words, man. Have you shot raw video externally on FX30? No, I've not. But I'm sure it's better, but it's going to be noisier because there's no processing. So I'm sure it's fine, but for me, it's not worth the headache. Bought the Kessler, love it. Yes, so good. So good. Will you add the new Samyang VAF Cine to... Ooh, good question, Carlos. Probably not. One of the 20 lenses you've been testing at FX30, any of them standing out in terms of your favorite? Well, that kind of spoils the fun, Carlson. But I'm going to say the Sigma 18-50 little zoom. It's adorable. It's super minuscule. Should I get it? I'd have to run over there. It'd take forever. But it's great. I really like this form factor. I haven't fully tested the optics, so that's coming up. But so far, that thing just makes me smile. I use Canon R6 to shoot my inside talking videos and want to upgrade to the R5C. Sick. Is that overkill for indoor talking educational videos? Probably, maybe. But if you want it and you have the budget for it, why not, right? That's a fantastic camera. Whoops, sorry, that was the wrong. There's the question, sorry. There's Christopher's question. Now on to Fernando. I own a red Komodo and a Pocket 6K. Which set of lenses should I invest into? That's a loaded question. I mean, if you don't care about autofocus or the potential, if you're going to stick with red and the Komodo, I would probably go with something EF mount, because that's going to cover both of those. I mean, I've done a video on the Meike cinema lenses and compared them to Canon's CNE primes. I think that's a pretty solid set. So if it's me and you're looking for a good set of not too expensive manual focus primes, probably that set of lenses. How many lights do you use for your overhead setups? One single light. I got to do a video on that too. Yeah, I have to cover that. I use a single light. In short, the easiest way to do it is have a big light directly behind a desk, kind of angled down at it, add some fill with whiteboards if needed, and you're done. It's really simple, but you want a big light source. Love the Kessler stable on the desk. Locks. Yes, it's so good. So great. Currently, I have only one SL 200 watt. I'm thinking about just stopping and getting aperture next. Yep. Oh, I see you're talking with other folks. Nice. Wow, less than 1,000 pounds secondhand. Man, I'm going to check it out. Oh, interesting. I found an alternative to the Kessler stand in Europe. It's from ProAim. I've heard of ProAim. Shall we investigate? See if this will wig out or not. So let's go ProAim camera stand. Quick release stand. Well, if you find a link for us, or if you know what it's exactly called, let me know, because I'd definitely like to check that out. ProAim. Got a Sennheiser MKE 600 for podcasting. Did I make a good decision? I mean, to me, podcasting is hard to mess up if you're going to have the microphone in the shot. If you're not, it sounds like you might not be happy with it. Let me know. But if you are unhappy with it, try treating your space. Get some sound absorption in there. But I think that'd be fine. You know, especially if you have it out of frame, it should be good. Are you streaming with the Canon RP That is old in the description. Ooh, I got to update that, don't I, Alex? Now this is the Sony a7 IV. So the old streaming setup is now a storage room. Everything's here at this main desk now. Actually, I should probably set up a camera over in the corner facing this way so I can just, boom, cut to this behind the scenes. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate the kind words, boss. All right, let's carry on, shall we? Fuji X-H2S versus FX3. Ooh, I'm probably going FX3, but, you know, I'm Captain Sony over here. I know a lot of people are loving that sensor and that camera. The stabilization and autofocus are just on that. And no matter how cinema-y you want to get, having autofocus is a baller thing to have when you need it. Was wondering if you could suggest some NVMe stuff for the Sigma FP. I mean, I don't think you need anything super fast, so you could go with something just basic T5. But I've tried those, any old, just pick one that has good ratings and is fast enough and stick it in your own enclosure. You know, they make all those little thin, sleek little enclosures and call it. I think that worked fine. Wonder if your SD card is locked. Oh, the guys are talking about that SD card issue earlier. I don't know if there is. I'm going to try to move faster here, guys. Guys are getting crazy with all these great questions. Are the days of upgrading cameras every few years over? I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, the tech's always going to keep moving, but I think we're entering an era of really good, really cheap cameras. The FX30 is a prime example. That thing's nuts for what it costs. And depending on what you like, I mean, this camera, these two cameras that I have now are the first cameras maybe ever that I've used that are budget oriented, that are just good. And I'm thrilled to have and use. So I'm kind of feeling endgamey over here. But that's a good question. It depends on your needs, I guess. Hey Caleb, I was curious about specific mic Sony compatibility. Do you know if the Shure SM7B would plug straight into the top handle of the FX30, FX3? Yes, it would work, but you might not have enough gain, right? So if you try to juice that, it might be kind of rough. What's going on, dude? I don't know the name, the face though. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, you're probably gonna want a preamp of some kind. Now, Mix Pre 3 would probably do it, but I don't know if Sony's preamps in that thing. You could try, definitely try it and see what happens. But it might just be a little too soft. You could get a cloud lifter, or there's a cheaper not cloud lifter. Help me out, guys. The alternative to a cloud lifter, and it's great. How much is that sort? How much is that sort of damage without warranty? I'm not sure. You're talking about the G85 thing. Love your X-T4 camera guide. Any thoughts on the X-H2 blah, blah, blah? Will I be doing a guide? No, I will not be doing a guide on that. Would you need a cloud lifter? Maybe, like we talked about. FX6 and A7 IV don't color match great due to sensor differences. Confirmed by Sony rep. Would FX30 match better with the FX6? That I don't know because I don't have an FX6, but I will say the FX30 is working great with the A7 IV and the A7S. Now, what I've noticed is all of these current crop of cameras, skin and certain reds land on different points. So with my LUTs that I sell, you can grab skin and rotate it on a vectorscope by adding the skin modifier, which is skin 1, 2, 3, and 4. So on the FX30 and the A7S III, so far, those are a little more greenish yellow. So I can pop those back by using skin 1 or 2. But the A7 IV, I think, is bang on. So no modifications needed. So there are definitely little differences there. And luminance as well. But the color is the one that kind of stands out, right? You've opened my eyes incorporating Arca Swiss plates on literally everything. Such a dream to switch setups. So cheers. Nice JSC videography. Yes, Arca Swiss is the bee's knees. Love it. You mentioned earlier the stream setup was changed a bit. What's different? Your image looks especially fantastic today. Well, thank you. The camera and lens is one. So we're using Sony's 35-1.8, A7 IV, big jump from the RP. And then the desk setup is just a little tweaks and things, different monitor configuration. But for the most part, it's very similar to that video that's in the description, with exception to the camera. And I have a larger teleprompter now. Maybe someday, maybe one live stream we'll bang out this whole setup and see exactly what's different. Zoom H5 audio glitch. I noticed while editing randomly during a wedding ceremony, the recording jumps ahead 10 seconds, no silence gap. Whoa, that's a good question. I would say could be SD card. I mean, what card are you using? Is it, a modern SanDisk, or is it something a little older? Getting the first light kit. F22C 200X fan noise fixed. P60C, any thoughts on future buys corporate commercial? 600 yada yada yada. Holding out for the MC Pro kit. I think you're super solid with that setup. Yep, I think that's pretty great. And what you could do in the meantime, if you don't have enough for the 600 whatevers, you could get a 200D, which is noisy, because the X I think is less noisy, but the 200D is noisy, but it's bright as all get out. When it comes to those other lights, I've done a video comparing them all. If you care about color, super burpy, skip the 600C. I love that light, unless you really have to have modifiers, but you can get more color pop for less. So those, you can get a wall of those P60Cs, P300C or 600C. Oh, I see what you mean. I don't know if you're saying 600C, the Bowens mount. But yeah, I think you're good there, and then seeing what happens with the MC Pro is smart. Okay, what is the best system for great color straight out of camera for video? If you just don't want to touch it at all, fine. It's dependent on each camera. But most Sony cameras, you turn picture profiles off, or S-Cinetone is a good way to go. Canon is going to depend camera to camera. I prefer shooting log, applying a LUT, and doing that whole thing, because it's just, if you're scared of it, or it bothers you and you're not good at it, take some time, because it makes such a difference. All right. Want the small rig batteries. Don't need more V mounts at the moment. They're just so pretty. I hear you, man. Does 8-bit banding happen because you're using S-Log2 or S-Cine color? For example, does switching to just 709 color? So I know what you're getting at, and yes-ish. It's the fact that the camera is 8-bit. It's not necessarily what settings you're using, but to negate or try to work around the issue of it being a bad 8-bit camera, shooting S-Log2 for your gamma, and then ITU 709 matrix for your color mode, or gamut, is a way to work around that. And the LUTs I'm finishing, I promise, work really well at then taking that and giving you a really nice image. Is the best, in my opinion, you're going to get out of an 8-bit camera. Just joined the stream. What's up, Joshua? Do you know if there's any significant differences between the Samsung T5, T7 for 4K editing? I think they both would be fine. So yeah, I don't think you're going to have an issue with one or the other. Style-wise, do you feel teal, orange getting overused? I see it everywhere. Yeah, it's not really my thing, but I get it. It adds some color contrast. Like this right now, I've got a little bit of cool in the background, warmer light, but the whole pushing those colors in post is kind of yikes now. Andrew Robinson, what is going on, boss? To whomever asked about the Valencia seating for max comfort, you want high-packed... Oh, hold on. You may want the high-backed chairs, though for the best audio performance, you're going to want a chair that stops around the top of your shoulder. Interesting. Well, thank you. And everyone should check out this man's channel. I've watched a ton of your videos recently, Andrew, so thank you so much. Trying to sort out what I'm doing for my home theater. And even if you just go for aesthetics, the man's videos look fantastic. I love your set design, Andrew. Your new space is gorgeous. So very well done. Keep up the great work. And if you're a recovering hi-fi audiophile, this is your man. So good stuff, Andrew Robinson. All right, what else do we got here? What is your current storage and editing workflow for your team? Oh, Kevin, it's horrifying. Well, it's not horrifying. It's incredibly redundant and secure and backed up, but the complexity is a little nuts. So I've got a guide coming up called the Content Creators Guide. In there, there's a whole video where I break down our setup with infographics and all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll take that and turn it into a YouTube video, but it's a lot of things. I've done some older videos that's similar to what that is, but well, that's another topic for another time. All right, as we near the end of the stream, I'm going to have to catch up with these super chats. We've got one from Atif, $10 Canadian. Thank you, good sir. If you have a question, let me know. I don't see one here, but much appreciated. Let's jump down some further. We got Daniel Moore, £5. No idea what to set target bitrate at when exporting my 4K films. I see a slider for CBR. Okay, so best practices. Okay, so if you're going to YouTube or something like that online, just set it to the highest thing if you have the time and the space. Throw it at YouTube. They're going to compress it however they want. Or if you don't want as much time, I don't know what I set mine to. I'd have to look it up. Let me look it up right now. I compress mine a decent amount just so I don't have to sit and wait for the processing to take 1,000 years, because I actually usually upload the day before or the day of. I'm rare that I'm getting way ahead. So, nuts. Let me bring this window over. Let's cut over. Up. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so this is compressor. So for our YouTube 4K, we are sitting at video 30,000 kilobits a second. That's what I have mine set to. You could definitely go higher, but that's what we currently use. So hopefully that helps you out. All right. Thank you for the donation, good sir. And we're scrolling down, and I think that is it. Andrew, if you ever need anything, yes, dude. It'd be great to catch up sometime. If you're ever in the Chicago area, and if I'm ever in the Texas, Arizona, area, it'd be great to catch up. But great channel, man, and keep up the great work. All right. It is 4:58. In 2 minutes, I got to pack this thing up and head back home. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and end the stream. Man, what a great run. Great question, guys. Really, really good stuff today. And looking forward to doing this as much as possible regularly. So next Wednesday, I'm going to try to get this scheduled ahead of time so we can hang out. And thank you guys so much for the support. For those who did super chats, thank you. For those who have been supporting through the guides and through the LUT packs, really appreciate that. Let's keep this going. Let's keep building this awesome community. It's great seeing so many familiar faces. And for those who are answering other people's questions in the chat, that really does mean a lot. It's one of my favorite things to see is just people helping each other out. So hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video and on social media.